Hi, and welcome to Ivy English. I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Today we're going to shed some light on an important aspect of sleep. But let me tell you quick that it is January 3rd. Now, we just went through, a couple days ago, everybody lost a whole bunch of sleep staying up to watch, the fireworks at midnight. But as far as I understand my Taipei friends' habits, most people would stay up this late anyways. It's not particularly late for them. Most people that I know stay up at least till 1 or 2 in the morning, judging by my line groups. Like some of my most active line groups are active between 10:30 or 11:30 and like 1:30, which always blows my mind because I'm in bed by 9:30 or 10, 10:30 at the latest.
Yeah, 这个是台湾的人其实很多人都习惯晚睡哈，所以这个半夜12点呢，其实很多人都还没睡哈。那这个 Angela 说，根据她的经验也是哈，她的 Line 上面的朋友常常这个3更半夜的还非常的 active。好，那我们这个题目啊，这个 shed light on 这个片语大家可以学起来哈。有的时候我们会讲 cast light on C-A-S-T。
No one uses that anymore though.
不过这个比较现在没有人用了，你读可能还读得到，字典上可能还有，但是现在大家不太用了。那另外我也看过那种 throw light on， 那也不是那么常见。那 shed light on 可能是最常见的。那它的意思其实就是 to clarify something， 或者是 to help people understand something， 所以就好像把光照上去，你就容易看得清楚，就比较容易懂那种感觉。然后呢 aspect 是一个面向啊，事情有不同的面向。那今天呢，就是要让你看清楚，让你比较了解一个important 很重要的 aspect 面向，什么东西很重要的面向呢？ Sleep 睡眠一个很重要的面向。
So let's find out what's an important aspect of sleep. A lot of focus has been directed at the importance of getting around 8 hours of sufficient sleep per night for the average person, though young children need more and the elderly generally require less.Another aspect, one that receives less attention from the public, is the quality of one's sleep and the impact that it has on physical health. A recent study by researchers at the Center for Circadian and Sleep Medicine at Northwestern University in the United States has cast some light on this issue. The sleep experts at Northwestern University conducted experiments involving 2 groups of young adults,hooking them up to heart monitors to see how varying levels of light in a room at night affected their physiological states. The results suggested that the intensity of light present in one's bedroom has detrimental implications for cardiovascular and metabolic health. In the study, one group of subjects slept in a room that was lit only by dull light for 2 nights.The other 10 individuals slept one night under the same type of light, and the second night in a room with a brighter light placed overhead. In addition to monitoring their hearts, researchers recorded the sleepers' brainwaves and drew their blood. The group that had slept under a brighter light on the second night showed elevated heart rates during that time. Their bodies also showed increased insulin resistance,meaning they had trouble regulating their blood sugar levels. The study suggests that the presence of light in a room while one is sleeping may have an adverse influence on health. Therefore, to ensure a good night's sleep, you can start by creating a bedroom that guards against unwanted light at night.Another thing you can do is put your cell phone at least a meter away from you because the signals from cell phones, when they pass through your body when you're asleep, they wake you up slightly. And that also decreases your quality of sleep and also makes it hard for you to fall asleep at night.
Yeah, 那刚刚 Angela 讲还有一个很重要就是睡觉的时候呢，手机尽量不要放在身边，至少要离1公尺以上，因为手机它就算不是没有电话，它仍然会接收到一些电波，那这些电波会影响我们的睡眠。
So let's go back to the beginning of the article. A lot of focus has been directed at, so if you focus on something, you direct your focus at that thing, or you focus on that thing. So a lot of focus has been directed at the importance of getting around 8 hours of sufficient sleep per night. So we're focusing on getting at least 8 hours of sleep, but sufficient sleep is an interesting qualifier here. What kind of sleep? It has to be good sleep or enough sleep. It can't just be you were sort of asleep for 8 hours. Mm-hmm. And this is for the average person, although young children need more sleep. So letting your children stay up with you until 1 in the morning is a very bad idea. And the elderly generally require less. I think they want to have more, but they're just unable to do it.
Yeah, that's the great irony of life, You
have time to sleep
well, when
and
you have
can't.
time, you have time to sleep, but you cannot fall asleep.
But that's why they sleep in the afternoons,
Okay. 所以我们刚刚讲说这个他句子里面讲到说年老的人呢，年纪比较大的人需要比较少的睡眠那我就说这个真的是蛮讽刺的因为通常退休了之后呢，你可能比较有时间睡觉了，反而睡不着。
But how would you know? You're actually busier since you retired, so you wouldn't know about
That's true too.
having more time. What's time? You don't know what that is.
Yeah, 所以真的是这很难讲了有的人这个退休之后反而更忙。那我们这篇文章呢，它其实它中文标题我们刚刚忘了讲它是研究说开灯睡觉会伤身体。所以我们这个文章一开始他就说呢，A lot of focus 就是很多的关注，很多的焦点 has been directed at something. To be directed at something 这个 directed 在这里就是把精力或者把目光对准某一个目标或者某一个方向。那后面可以是 at 也可以是 to 也可以是 towards。 那在这里呢它是对准一个点，所以是 at。 所以很多的焦点，很多的关注都对准了什么事情呢？ The importance of 就是什么东西的重要性。什么的重要性呢？ Getting 获得 around 就是 about approximately 大约 8 hours of 8个小时的 sufficient 就是充足的 sleep 睡眠。一个人正常的人一般晚上大概是要睡8个小时才够，然后 per night 是每个晚上。所以刚刚 Angela 老师讲说这个 sufficient 在这里是蛮重要的，就是不只是说你要躺在床上睡8个小时而且你要真的有睡着，要有足够要有充分的睡眠。 Sufficient 就是充分的意思。然后呢后面 for the average person 这个也各位可以把它学起来，就是这个是对一般人而言睡8个小时，有的人可能需要更少有的人需要更多。然后呢后面再继续讲，把这个讲得更清楚更明确。他说虽然说呢 young children 就是小孩 need more 他们可能需要睡更多，不止8个小时。然后呢 the elderly 就是年纪大一点的人呢 generally 一般来讲 require less 就需要比较少一点的睡眠。
Another aspect, another part of the puzzle, one that receives less attention from the public, one that people don't really pay attention to, is the quality of one's sleep and the impact that it has on physical health. So we kind of count how many hours we have, but we don't see if those hours are good sleep or bad sleep. We're just like, yeah, I got 6 hours, that should be enough. No. Because it has an impact on physical health. It has an effect on your health. It influences your health significantly.
所以呢 another aspect 就是另外有一个面向。那后面这个是同位语 one that 就指这个 aspect 它怎么样呢？ receives less attention 它获得比较少的关注 from the public 来自大众的关注，也就是说这是大家比较少注意到的一个面向叫做one that receives less attention from the public。 那另外这一个面向呢是什么面向呢？动词在后面 is 是什么？这个面向就是 the quality of one's sleep 一个人睡眠的品质。还有呢 the impact 冲击或者影响 that it has 就是你睡眠品质所带来的影响或冲击。对于什么的影响或冲击呢？介系词用 on 所以 the impact on physical health 身体的健康所以睡眠品质其实会影响你的身体健康的。
A recent study by researchers at the Center for Circadian and Sleep Medicine at Northwestern University in the United States. That was long. So these people who are studying things, and they study sleep, and they study circadian rhythms. Circadian rhythms is basically when it's natural for you to wake up, and when it's natural for you to be active, and when it's natural for you to be sleepy, and when it's natural for you to be asleep. So your circadian rhythm is like your whole day. And like in the 24 hours, every 24 hours, when you typically do the things. And like different people have different circadian rhythms. The people that we generally call night owls will wake up later and go to bed later. And the people we call early birds will get up early and go to sleep early. Mm-hmm. And so people tend to have a circadian rhythm, but you can also adjust your circadian rhythm. As anyone who has ever gone on an international flight and flown to a different time zone, you immediately know that, first of all, your circadian rhythm gets messed up, and then you gradually adjust. Anyways, these people have cast some light on this issue. These researchers have shed some light on what is quality sleep. Now, in the intro to the show, I said cast some light is less often used, but we've already said shed some light in the title, so we had to pick another, synonym for it. And so that's when you're going to like reach for these less used synonyms.
好，所以呢，我们先讲一下，就是我们刚刚在开头的时候有解释说，这个 cast light on 这个片语现在已经不太用了。但在这里呢，我们还是看到它使用。那所谓不太用，不是说不能用。那在这里它用 cast light on， 主要大概有2个原因。第一个就是它的标题已经用了 shed light on， 好，所以它在这里呢，英文的习惯会想办法换一个同义字，那就选到了 cast。另外一个呢是 cast light on 也比较常，就算看到呢，也比较常看到是在这个书写的英语。那像这个地方它是 written English， 所以它就用了这样的一个片语。好，那我们回来看看这个句子，他说 a recent study， 最近有一个研究 a recent study by 谁做的研究呢？那这个接下来他介绍 researchers 是一些研究人员做的研究。那接下来他慢慢一个一个不同的资讯告诉你这些研究人员是怎么样的研究人员。首先呢，他告诉你这些研究人员，这些 researchers 是 at the Center for Circadian and Sleep Medicine。他们是在某一个中心，这个中心怎么样？是 circadian 这个字呢，就是昼夜24小时的节律，生理节律。所以刚刚这个 Angela 讲说，我们讲一个人他的 circadian rhythm 就是指他生理上面，他24小时里面，例如说什么时候他最清醒，什么时候他这个会想睡觉，好，那什么时候适合做什么事情之类的。那有一点像我们的生理时钟啦，所以像这个夜猫子，他的 circadian rhythm 就跟那种喜欢早起的人那种 early birds 就不太一样。所以这是一个研究 circadian 还有这个就是研究这种24小时生理节律的一个中心，而且他还研究 sleep medicine 就是睡眠医学。那这个中心在哪里呢？是在这个西北大学，美国的西北大学，所以这都是介绍 researchers。那这些 researchers 所做的一个 recent study has cast some light on this issue， 就让我们更加了解这个议题，这个 issue 就是一个议题。
Now, the sleep experts at Northwestern University conducted experiments involving 2 groups of young adults, hooking them up to heart monitors to see how varying levels of light in a room at night affected their physiological states. So this sentence connects 2 ideas up by turning one of the ideas into a participle phrase, which starts with an ing verb. So instead of having 2 separate sentences, which is kind of a boring rhythm, they connected these 2 related sentences. So the first part is the sleep experts at Northwestern University conducted experiments. They ran experiments involving 2 groups of young adults. Now, this could be a standalone sentence, but it's more interesting to link it up to the next to say what they did in these experiments. So what did they do? They hooked them up to heart monitors. So hooking them up to heart monitors is the participle form of that kind of sentence. And a heart monitor is something that it shows how fast or slow or strongly or weakly your heart is beating. Almost every movie about somebody being ill will show a heart monitor at some point. It's that very famous sort of blip on the screen, especially if someone's dying, that will show a heart monitor in the movie. But they hooked them up to these heart monitors to see how varying levels of light, like different levels of light, whether it's brighter or darker, in the room at night when they're sleeping, they wanted to see how it affected their physiological states. Now, you've probably seen the word psychological, which begins with also a P, but it's PSY instead of PHY. So these words have so much in common that sometimes even for the native speaker, it's easy to read it wrong. But physiological has to do with the body. Phys is body. And psychological has to do with the mind. Psycho is mind.
好，所以我们可以看到这个地方在讲说 The sleep experts 就是睡眠专家，在西北大学的这些睡眠专家呢，他们 conducted experiments 进行了一些实验。那各位把这个 collocation 这个字词搭配学起来， conduct experiments 或者 conduct an experiment。 那他们进行了一些实验，那这些实验呢，后面他用一个分词片语来修饰这个实验。这些实验怎么样？是 involving 是牵涉到或者是有包括 two groups of young adults 有2群的年轻人。然后呢，后面再来一个分词构句，继续告诉你更多的讯息。那在这个实验里面呢，他怎么样 hooking them up to hook up to 就是接上的意思，所以他把这些年轻人呢接上什么呢？ Heart monitors 就是心脏监测仪。大家在电影电视上常常看到，通常它要显示一个在病床上面躺着的人，如果他失去生命的话呢，通常那个心脏监测仪就会变成平的，好的 B 这样子。好，所以接上这个心脏监测仪 to see 要看看 how 就是底下这件事情是如何的发生，如何的进行。什么事情呢？ Varying levels of light Varying 就是不同的，所以 varying levels of light 就是不同亮度的这个光。In a room 在一个房间里面，是 at night 在晚上房间里面不同亮度的光，或者这个不同亮度的光线是如何的 how 会 affected 影响他们的 physiological 就是生理的 states 状态。所以晚上房间里面灯亮度不同，对于一个人的生理状态有什么样的影响，他们就是要看一看，这个研究的目的是要看这个东西。
The results of the experiments suggested or showed or seemed to show that the intensity of light present. So the intensity of light present in one's bedroom has detrimental implications. Detrimental is just a fancy way to say bad. How it affects something, how badly it affects something. And implications is another way of saying meaning. So it tells you that there's bad things going on for your cardiovascular and metabolic health. Cardiovascular, of course, is your heart and circulatory system, and metabolic means how well you process energy from your food. So metabolic health is often associated with how fat or thin you are, because a high metabolism means that you process energy more quickly from your body and then you store it less, whereas a low metabolism means you store more energy in your body in the form of fat.
好，所以 the results suggested that 就是结果显示，相当于中文讲结果显示，这个 the intensity of light intensity 就是强烈，结果显示强光。那present in one's bedroom 就是你房间里面所有的存在的 present 就是存在的意思，所以你房间里面所存在的光线的强度呢，它会有怎么样？会有 detrimental 就是有害的不利的 implications 本来是暗示或者含义，那在这里其实可以翻译成为影响，所以它会有不利的影响，有害的影响。对哪方面会有不利的影响呢？对于 cardiovascular 就是心血管，还有 metabolic新陈代谢方面的健康都会有不利的影响。
So in the study, one group of subjects slept in a room that was lit only by dull light for 2 nights. So there was some light in the room, but it was very dim.
好，所以在研究中呢，其中有一群人，他们睡在一个房间里面，这个房间怎么样？ That was lit 就照明，被照明，只是由什么来照明呢？ Dull light。Dull 就是昏暗的，light 的光线，所以只有非常昏暗的光线，然后他们在这里睡2天 for 2 nights.
The other 10 individuals slept 1 night under the same type of light, the dull, dim light, and the second night in a room with a brighter light placed overhead. Ugh. I could not handle that. So the second night they slept in a room which had a light straight over their bed.
那另外有10个 individuals 有10位这个受测者呢，他们睡一个晚上是在 under the same type of light 是同样的这种 dull 或者是 dim D-I-M 这种昏暗的光线。然后呢 the second night 第二个晚上呢，他们就睡在一个房间，但是呢这个房间有一个 brighter light 比较亮的灯，而且是 placed overhead 就放在他们的头上， overhead 就在他们头上。
In addition to monitoring their hearts, so in addition to keeping a watch on how their hearts were doing, researchers recorded the sleepers' brain waves, so they also figured out how their brains were doing. And in order to do that, you have to have electrodes placed all over your head with tape. So I've done this once. It really makes it hard to go to sleep when your head is covered by electrodes. And besides all this thing, they also drew their blood. They stuck a syringe in and took some of their blood for testing.
好，所以 in addition to 除了 monitoring 就是监测，除了监测他们的心脏之外呢，研究人员也 recorded 记录这个睡觉的人呢，他们的 brain waves 就是这个脑波，然后呢 drew their blood 就是抽血，给他们抽血。
The group that had slept under a brighter light on the second night showed elevated heart rates during that time. So the people that had to sleep with the bright light, their heart rate was faster.
所以呢 the group 其中那一群他们睡在一个 brighter light 在比较亮的光线下睡一个晚上的就而且是 on the second night 第二个晚上会睡在比较亮的光线之下的这一群人呢 showed 显示了 elevated 就是升高的 heart rates 心率也就是说他们的心跳速率会升高 during that time 就是他们晚上睡觉灯比较亮的时候他们的心率也会比较高。
Their bodies also showed increased insulin resistance. Insulin is the thing that your body puts out in order to help lower your blood sugar levels because too high of a blood sugar level actually is very bad for you. So if they had insulin resistance, it means that they weren't putting out the insulin that they needed. And so that meant that they had trouble regulating or keeping their blood sugar levels at the right level.
那他们的身体也 showed 显示这个 increased 就是增加的 insulin 就是这个我们讲的胰岛素 resistance 就是阻抗所以他们的胰岛素阻抗也增加了那意思就是说他们 have trouble 他们不容易他们很难可以 regulating 调节他们的 blood sugar levels 他们的血糖的水准或者水平换句话说他们的血糖就会出问题。
Now, the reason we're talking about shedding light, casting light, suggesting, or perhaps showing is that one study is not a definitive answer. Just because you have a study doesn't mean that that's definitely answer. It does tell you some information or indicates a direction, and you have to use other research and other studies to corroborate or help prove this information. So we can only say that this study suggests that the presence of light in a room while one is sleeping may have an adverse or bad influence on health. So this study shows us that it's possible that you shouldn't have a light on in your room when you sleep.
好，所以呢 the study suggests that 这个研究呢这个告诉我们它用 suggest 原因是因为这只是一个研究所以还没有办法真的做定论但是这个研究显示怎么样 the presence of 就是什么的存在呢 light 光线的存在 in a room 在房间里面有光线的存在 while one is sleeping 当你在睡觉的时候房间里面如果有光的话呢有可能 may have an adverse influence on 这 adverse 就是负面的 unfavorable 甚至于是 harmful 的 influence on health 所以晚上睡觉的时候房间有光线可能对你的健康有负面的影响
Therefore, to ensure a good night's sleep, to make sure you're sleeping well, you can start by creating a bedroom that guards against unwanted light at night. So you can start by making sure that your bedroom is nice and dark and cozy.
所以呢 ensure 就是确保你如果要确保 a good night's sleep 一夜好眠的话呢你可以开始从哪里开始呢Start by creating 你可以先创造一个 bedroom 一个房这个卧室这个卧室怎么样 that guards against 它会防卫或者防堵 unwanted 这个 light 就是你不想要的不是必要的光线 at night 所以卧室晚上其实要尽量让它能够暗暗的这样是比较好的它能够防堵你不想要的光线
So we have some questions here for you, number one of which is, what do the results of the research from Northwestern University indicate? So what did we learn from this research?
所以第一个问题，西北大学的研究结果说明了什么呢？
The answer is C. Illumination or light in a room at night can disturb or upset blood sugar regulation.
答案是 C. 夜间房内的照明会扰乱血糖的调节。
And number two, which of the following is closest in meaning to detrimental in the second paragraph?
那以下哪一项与第二段 detrimental 的含义最接近
And the answer is B, harmful or bad for you.
答案是 B, harmful.
And number 3, according to the passage, who is most likely a participant in the experiment mentioned in the passage?
那根据本文，谁最有可能是文中提及实验的参与者？
And the answer is D, because the lady's named Fanny. The experts had me sleep under a dim light on the first night. On the second night, however, I stayed in a much brighter room, and that's the exact conditions of our experiment.
所以答案应该是 D, 芬妮。好，因为他说呢，这个专家要我头一个晚上睡在昏暗的灯光下，那第二个晚上呢，要我待在一个更明亮的房间里面，所以这跟我们刚刚描述的一模一样，所以这个是正确答案。
So that's all we have about sleep for you today. But, go home, make a dark room, put your cell phone at least a meter away from you, and get some quality sleep. Your body will thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.